Hello and good evening. Very warm welcome to all the participants on the second day of 7th batch of Executive Development Program. My sincere gratitude to ICAI President C.A. Nihar Jambusariya sir, ICAI Vice President C.A. Dr. Devashish Mitra sir, ICAI Acting Secretary C.A. Dr. Jaikumar Batra, all Central Council members. And this program is an initiative of Committee for Members in Industry and Business under the leadership of C.A. Hansraj sir and C.A. Durgesh Kabra sir. We are very fortunate to have here C.A. Durgesh Kabra sir, the co-chairman of the committee, who will be sharing his thoughts with us today, as due to some urgency he couldn't be there with us yesterday. So I would now hand it over to Durgesh Kabra sir to share his thoughts with us. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Prabhadeep. It's really wonderful to be a part of the 7th batch on Executive Development Program. I also welcome C.A. Amit Arora, who is going to be the faculty for the first session of today's. Who will be dealing with the, I think, interpersonal self-improvement skills, and thereafter the session is on ace your interview and presentation skills. So today what you are going to get, all the friends, is you are going to improve yourself. And when the subject is like that, I thought I must also give some motivational talks to all of you. And I couldn't attend yesterday in the inaugural session. The reason being, I was having my own session with respect to schedule 2 and schedule 3. So I couldn't be a part of the inaugural session yesterday. But nevertheless, I am today with all of you, and I very much thankful to Mr. Prabhadeep Baveja, who is helping all the young chartered accountants to have this wonderful executive development program and bringing the faculties from across the world. See, we normally think of the Indian faculties when we are there in India and we are having these kind of programs. But thanks to the COVID in one way, because we have started learning through the virtual mode, and when we are learning through the virtual mode, we are getting an opportunity to connect with all stalwarts of our profession across the world who had been successful in their endeavors at various positions across the world. So thanks, Prabdeep, for doing wonderful job and giving the best of the faculties to the young chartered accountants who would like to make their career in a different directions and into the different fields. With this, let me tell you, friends, I must welcome all of you. It's the beginning of your career. You may have passed your exam in last 3-4 years. These are the EDP programs which we have planned of for the last 5 years. Students who have cleared their chartered accountancy, and I'm sure that today the young chartered accountants are the chartered accountants who are going to lead tomorrow's profession, or tomorrow are they are going to keep the flag of our professions tomorrow very high. Friends, let me tell you, it's a beginning for all of you. We are at a different age and at a different place, but I welcome you all, and I would like to say here that अभी तो असली मंजिल पाना बाकी है, अभी तो इरादों का इम्तिहान बाकी है, अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन, अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन, अभी तो नापना पूरा आसमान बाकी है, अभी तो नापना पूरा आसमान बाकी है. So friends, since as I told you, it's a beginning for all of you. You need to do all these things. You have to have the sky in your hand. Correct? You have to gauge and measure the sky, and that will come by the confidence. Then only you can do. And how the confidence will come? How you, and what is the confidence exactly? So confidence breeds success, and are you as confident as you can be? That is what is needed in you. You always need to feel that you are, yes, confident enough. Yes. And when you starts thinking that you are confident enough, then it makes a lot of difference. It will give you the success. And friends, let me tell you, there are certain items, certain things which you can do while you want to build your confidence or you want to have the success in your life. I'll discuss some of the things with you. There are 10 things which you should always keep in your mind, which will boost your confidence, and ultimately the success will be there, which you really want to achieve in your life. So let's begin with that. And when we begin with those 10 points, it starts with define your purpose. The first one is define your purpose. Friends, it's hard to be confident in what you are doing if you are not sure why you are doing it. What is your purpose in work and in life? Once you identify why, that is most important. You will be more confident because you will be coming from a place of purpose. So why, when it is defined, then you becomes more confident. So when you have to define why, you need to see the dreams. And friends, let me tell you, which dreams? Unless and until you don't see the dreams, you cannot make it happen. And which kind of dreams normally? So dreams, as is told by our president of the country, earlier president of the country, Abdul Kalam Azad, dreams are those which you don't see in the sleep, or which you sleep. Dreams are not those which you while you are sleeping, when you see while you are sleeping, but dreams are those which doesn't allow you to sleep. So सपना वो नहीं है दोस्तों जो आप नींद में देखें, बल्कि सपना वो है जो आपको नींद नहीं आने दे. That is most important. So you have to dream it and you have to make it success. You have to link that dream with your plan and goal, and you have to define your purpose. That will give you the confidence. Second thing which I feel is avoid comparing yourself with others. That is another most important thing. It is almost in every case when you compare yourself with someone else, it takes the form of negative self-talk about how you are not good enough. That is important. Correct? Doing this, it weakens your self-confidence. The only person you need to compare yourself with is version of yourself that you were and want to become. So every day, when you want to compare, you compare with yourself. What was you yesterday? What are you today? And what you are going to be tomorrow. That is most important. And friends, it is the only comparison which creates the problem and takes you to the negative thinking and also puts you sometimes into depression. Friends, चील की ऊंची उड़ान को देखकर चिड़िया कभी भी डिप्रेशन में नहीं आ जाती है. वो अपने अस्तित्व में मस्त रहती है, मगर इंसान की उड़ान को देखकर बहुत ही जल्दी चिंता में आ जाते हैं. तुलना से बचें और खुश रहें. ना किसी से ईर्ष्या, ना किसी से कोई होड़, ना किसी से कोई होड़. मेरी अपनी मंजिलें हैं, मेरी अपनी दौड़, मेरी अपनी दौड़. So friends, let us compare ourselves, not with others. I must compare with me only rather than comparing with Amit ji, because Amit ji is a very big name. So I should not compare. I should compare what I was yesterday, what I am today, and what I want to be tomorrow. Then the third thing is, friends, focus on solution. Focus on solution is again very important. There will always be challenges, but focusing solely on problem is a self-defeating practice. Let me tell you, it's a self-defeating practice. Normally हम लोग प्रॉब्लम पे ही फोकस करते हैं एंड उसके कारण से हमेशा परेशान देते हैं. सो इंस्टीड acknowledge the problem will arise, and when they do, focus on finding solution as a strong leader. You acknowledge the problem and try to find out the solution for that rather than problem hai, this will create problem. Only problem. But problem ka solution hai, that will make lot of difference and you will achieve what you want to, and it will build your career. It is rightly said that परिंदों को नहीं दी जाती तालीम उड़ानों की, परिंदों को नहीं दी जाती तालीम उड़ानों की, वो खुद ही तय करते हैं मंजिल आसमानों की. रखते हैं जो हौसला आसमान को छूने का, रखते हैं जो हौसला आसमान को छूने का, उनको नहीं परवाह होती गिर जाने की, उनको नहीं परवाह होती गिर जाने की. Friends, let's move to the fourth one, that is play to your strength. This is again very important. Sometimes we spend more time making up for our perceived weaknesses that we do honoring our strength. See, we are normally doing the SWOT analysis, but in the SWOT analysis also, we more focus on weaknesses rather than on the strength. I'm sure, friends, if you leave weakness on one side and what is your strength and you start focusing on that, then the success will be yours. That you might have seen from movie like Three Idiots also. They were doing engineering. Three Idiots were doing engineering. But when they started focusing on their strength, they were more successful as compared to what was told them to do. So it is a humble point to be noted, and you must see that whatever is the interest where you are having, please focus around that. Even in the service or employment or practice, if you are good enough in investment banking, focus there only. If you are good enough in forensic, focus there only. If you are good enough in tax, focus there only. Don't focus here and there again and again and change the focus. It is going to make a lot of difference. It will build confidence in you, and when the confidence is built, you are successful. Friends, as we all know that सिर्फ समस्याओं के बारे में सोचने से बहाने ही मिलते हैं, बट समाधान के बारे में सोचने पर केवल रास्ते मिलते हैं. Then the fifth one is fake it till you not make it. So fake it till you make it. That is again important. आपको सफलता पानी है, आपको कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए. Yes, I am a chartered accountant or I am a CFO. Since I am talking to you, you all are chartered accountant. You have to think that after 5 years, I am a CFO. So from today, you start thinking in that direction. I am a CFO. After 5 years, I am this. On 5th year, so and so date, I am a CFO and I am this. So fake it till you don't make it. Continuously start feeling that I am CFO. What I am doing is as per CFO or not. And that will make difference. And you will be on that particular day when you are stepping towards that side, working on that directions, it is going to make difference, will build your confidence, and you will be the successful person, and you will get whatever you want to achieve. Then the next one is take action. The fake it till make it will not only help. वो एक सच्चाई है, but with that, when you are thinking of fake it till make it, something will come in your mind and you will start taking action. And when you will start taking action, I'm sure friends, it will give you the confidence, because fear can be paralyzed. Ignore the voice in your head telling you that you can't do something, and take actions anyway. The more you let fear hold you back, the stronger the negative voice will become. It works in other direction too. So you should always take the action, and that fear will go. That is most important in your life. And it is rightly said by Krishna also in Gita, कर्मण्य वाधिकारस्ते माँ फलेषु कदाचन. कर्म किए जा, फल की इच्छा मत कर रहे इंसान, जैसे कर्म करेगा वैसे फल देगा भगवान. सो दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट फ्रेंड्स. आप अपने कर्मों पर ध्यान रखें, एंड यू विल अचीव व्हाट यू वांट टू अचीव. टेक प्राइड इन योर अपीयरेंस. क्या लग रहा है, कैसे लग रहा है, आपकी जो अपीयरेंस है ना, उस पर आपको कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए. When you look good, you will feel good. When you feel good, you feel confident. Wear the clothes you want to wear. Invest in how you look, and you will invest in your own success. That will give you the confidence. So, always take pride in your appearance. Correct. That is again important things. Focus on the positive. Never be a negative. Negative self-talk and pessimism are the vicious cycle and a drain on your confidence. So, don't allow negative thoughts to drain your confidence. Focus on your positive attributes instead of perceived weaknesses. Focus on your accomplishments rather than on your perceived failure. Keep focusing on what is working instead of what is not working. So, when you will focus on all positive thoughts in your life, that is going to make difference. So always remain positive. It will not take you to the negative directions. Be ready. ये सब कर दिया आपने. Positive, you are positive also. You have taken action also. You have planned also. Correct. You have defined your goal also. You are not comparing with anybody. You say that yes, you will be CFO on so and so dates. So you have done all these things. But always be ready. Opportunity, when the opportunity will knock the door, you will never know. And when opportunity knocks the door, you should be in a position to grab it immediately. So friends, you should always be ready. Success is a part preparation and part opportunity. Study, practice, and do what it takes to prepare yourself for when the right opportunity knocks on your door. If you are prepared, you are more likely to have the confidence to capitalize on the opportunity. And it is rightly said, इंतजार करने वाले को सिर्फ उतना ही मिलता है. इंतजार करने वाले को सिर्फ उतना ही मिलता है जितना कोशिश करने वाले छोड़ देते हैं. जितना कोशिश करने वाले छोड़ देते हैं. So friends, always do the best. अपनी कोशिशें करोगे. और it is rightly said in one of the movie by अमिताभ बच्चन, कोशिशें कामयाब हो जाती है, वादे टूट जाते हैं. सो आप कोशिश करते रहोगे तो 100% you will be a successful person. Embrace the power of body language. Body language speaks much louder than words. When you are feeling down on yourself, change your posture, pull your shoulders back, hold your head high, stand with your feet wide, and put your hands in the air like a superhero, right? Notice how the new stance quickly change your mood and boost your confidence. That will make difference. लेकिन आप ही मरे रहोगे तो कैसे काम चलेगा. अभी आपको बताएंगे अमित जी कि कैसे हीरो बन के रहना, सुपर हीरो बन के रहना. मैं हीरो की बात कर रहा हूँ, सुपर हीरो बन के रहना अमित जी आपको बताएंगे. करेक्ट. सेल्फ इम्प्रूवमेंट. सो सुपर हीरो के ही हिमसेल्फ इज अ सुपर हीरो. He'll tell you, don't worry. So you always embrace the power of body language. That will boost the confidence. And friends, final word, there is no magic solution that will suddenly make you more confident person. You need to focus on making consistent and small steps. You can transform yourself from fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Building confidence is like building momentum. Just keep taking action and you will feel more and more confident with each positive steps. आए हो निभाने को जब किरदार जमी पर कुछ ऐसा कर चलो कि जमाना मिसाल दे ये आपकी स्टार्टिंग है and you should do something like that. Yes, this is the fellow who has created history in the service, who has created history in the practice, who has created history in the profession. Jamana misal de. That is most important. Friends, I wish all of you a successful learning. This is a wonderful initiative taken by the CMIB, and I am sure that all the young chartered accountants are going to get benefit out of it. The CMIB would like to do a lot of things for all of you, and we wish that as and when these kind of courses are being announced, please convey your other friends who have not joined this time and ask them to join these kind of courses, so they get what exactly is required for their success. Because the seniors in the professions who are successful from across the world or from across the country, they are giving their thoughts, they are sharing their experience, and that will help you out. Let me tell you one more thing. You should be your own role model. You can follow someone, but you should be your own role model. That is most important. कि आपको क्या बनना है, किसी को देख लिया, इनसे सबसे सुनना है, लेकिन करना अपने को अपने मन की है. Correct? So listen, everyone, and what fits to you, that should be taken by you, grasped by you, and you should start working on those things. So you will be a model rather than you are following someone else as a model. Correct? So that is what I would like to wish all of you, and thank you for giving me a patient listening. And I am sure that the another two speaker today, Amit Arora and Shriram Gopalakrishnan, will deal with the subject of the self-improvement as well as the interview skills and communication skills. So I think presentation skills. I think you all will get benefit of this course, and I'm sure that this will transform your life too. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prabhadeep, for doing wonderful job and organizing the speakers from world over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your warm words and encouragement. I would also like to remind the participants that this vision of Kabra sir and Chuk sir has helped us make a significant difference, and all the sessions are available on ICAI YouTube channel and recorded webcast area. Now we move on to our first session, and I would like to introduce our speaker, CA Amit Arora. CA Amit is an Indian news anchor, journalist, radio jockey at All India Radio and has over 20 years of extensive experience. Amit often appears in the national news channel Doordarshan as an anchor. Amit has done his graduation from the University of Delhi. He holds an extremely prestigious degree from our institute and as a chartered accountant. He has been frequently heard voice in Independence Day, Republic Day, Olympics, cricket commentary and interviews of various personalities. Earlier, he worked as a financial management specialist with the United Nations. He believes that an anchor needs to do thorough research on a topic before presenting it to the audience. The most important thing is to simplify and sort the content in a simple manner so that it becomes easy for the viewers and listeners to understand. Amit carries an optimistic mindset to work and handles different situations easily. He says one should have a calm mind to deal with the live sessions under the building pressure. Amit says health is very paramount for him. Thank you so much, Amitji, for being here with us today, and thank you for all the support you have given to CMIB in and this Executive Development Program series. And I hand it over to you now and request all our participants for a big virtual round of applause for you. Over to you, Amitji.
Thank you very much, for the kind introduction. I'm thankful to the ICAI leadership for organizing this very valuable learning series. This is an initiative by the Committee for Members in Industry and Business. I'm thankful to the chairman, CA Hansraj Chugji, and it is our great fortune that we have the Honorable Vice Chairman of the committee, CA Durgesh Kabraji, respected Central Council member with us. As Durgesh sir said, that small steps cumulatively give big outcome. So that is very essential. And one of the 10 steps that he outlined was that you should not really compare yourself with anyone, but your own better version of self. And that, sir, leads me to the topic of the day, which is self-improvement. So the entire topic, when we were discussing this, the first reaction of Prabdeep ji was just 2 words. And yes, these are 2 essential words, self and improvement. So let me now take the liberty of also sharing the slides so that we can discuss both of these words a little more in detail. So welcome to the presentation on self-improvement. My name is CA Amit Arora. My Twitter ID is @AmIGood. And through the course of this presentation, if you've got any feedback, any response to the question that I ask, or if you've got any question for me, feel free to tweet. I have my mobile ready. And as Durgesh sir said, one of the aspects that COVID has done is push digital technology where we all get connected at the click of a button. Look at this picture. The flowers bloom without any comparison. And every flower is beautiful. The one in white and blue shade does not envy the one in blue. Similarly, vice versa. So maybe that's the lesson nature gives us as human beings we can take. Now, before we talk about self-improvement, let's first appreciate wherever we are. Remember to appreciate how far you've come. There's little point in us striving for growth if we cannot value our progress. So each one of us, despite the constraints, the ups and downs, everybody in their life faces challenges. We've made substantial progress. And we should therefore pat ourselves on the back that we've done well, right? We will improve. Self-improvement is an eternal process. But the first slide, I want to send the message that let's also appreciate whatever progress we have done. Now, since we want to keep the session interactive, I request you that if you could also share that according to you, what are the possible areas of self-improvement? You can tweet at @AmIGood. Look at this picture. Such a smiling picture of Kishore Kumar and Madhubala. While we all endeavor for smiles and a happy life, yet in life, maybe sometimes the picture may look like this. In the morning, you're wanting to go to your office. You feel you have taken the car out first. Then your neighbor also comes out. Now, who will take the car back? Will it result into road rage? Will you respond in a conscious manner? Will you react in an impulsive way? Will a small thing spiral into something that goes out of control? And that's where self-improvement becomes so important. Now, this is a very important quote. No man ever steps in the same river twice. For it's not the same river, and he's not the same man. So, if you met me 1 year back, and if you meet me today, I am a changed person. I may have responded to a certain situation in a certain manner a year back, but I may have grown now. Right? Similarly, whatever situations of life you've been facing, even if we did not face it the right way, we made mistakes, we learned on the way, we have grown. That's the best part of life. Let me share this through different scenarios. Imagine Shweta covers a distance of 10 kilometers in an hour. Akash covers the same distance in 1.5 hours. Which of the two is faster and healthier? So for those who are saying Shweta, how about scenario 2? What if we say that Shweta covered this distance on a prepared track, while Akash did it by walking on a sandy path? Maybe now some of us will say, no, not Shweta, it's Akash. Scenario 3. But if you know a little bit more information now, and you come to know that Shweta is 50 years old, Akash is half her age, 25, then which one do you think is faster and healthier? Maybe now you will say that it's Shweta. Scenario 4. You know a little bit more information. Akash weighs 140 kgs. Shweta nearly half of that, 65 kgs. Maybe again you will say Shweta, or you now will say Akash. So I'm saying, as you know more and more information, you will keep moving from Akash to Shweta. Yes? That's the whole idea. That as we learn more about people, our opinions and judgments about who is better will change. The reality of life is also similar. We're very quick to form opinions. That would always be a superficial, a decision taken in haste. That's why we will not do justice to ourselves or to the others. So the excellence of life is therefore not in comparing with anyone, but focusing on self. So I hope that of the two words, self-improvement, we're a little bit more focused now on self-care. So my next question. Can you tweet and tell me, do you focus more on self or do you usually end up comparing? You know that we should not be comparing, but do you focus on self or do you end up comparing? We've got Karamdeep saying that we do tend to compare ourselves. Krishna says we focus on self. Chaitanya says we focus more on self, want to focus more on self, but end up comparing. Absolutely. So here is another story. So once there was this father who after hard days of work comes back to his home, has his dinner, and then sits and relaxes on the sofa or the chair and reads the newspaper having his cup of tea. He doesn't really want to be disturbed. But if you're a father, you've got a child and your child doesn't really care how hard have you worked through the day. They want their time. So the child comes and says, Papa, play with me. Father is not very keen, but the child keeps on pestering, play with me. So then the father thinks of an idea. He rips apart one page from the newspaper that carries the world map and asks his son that I have torn this page of world map into several pieces. Take this as a puzzle, as a sport, as a play. Take this as a puzzle. Now you join back these many pieces and create the world map again. Father thinks that since he has torn the page into many pieces, and the world map, as you can see, is very complex, all of these countries, the father thinks that the child will take substantial time. But to his surprise, the child returns, putting all the pieces of the puzzle and getting the world map absolutely in order in just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. And the child returns. Father is absolutely surprised. And when he asks his child, how did you make the world map in order in just 1 minute? That is when The child says, well, Papa, on the other side, on one side there was the photo of the world map. On the other side, there was a simple picture of a person. And for a child, it was easy to take that as a base. And so he was able to get that picture right, and automatically world was taken care of. What do we learn from this story? That if we can figure out self, world will be taken care of. So both the Shweta and Akash story and the father and son story, the idea is we should not really be comparing ourselves. We should really try to figure out ourselves, and in the process, world will be taken care of because there is clearly an interconnection. Say, for example, COVID. No one is safe till everyone is safe. But if I can take care of myself following the COVID safe behavior, putting the mask appropriately, taking the vaccine if I'm eligible, practicing social distancing and other guidelines, then we all will be safe. But now when we see some of these pictures coming from tourist hotspots where people are traveling, and we are calling that as revenge tourism, because one can understand human behavior. It's been almost 2 years that nobody has actually ventured out. So we feel that, okay, now that the lockdown is no longer there, let's venture out in huge numbers. Not good. Please remember that we have to take care of ourselves and ensure thereby that collectively we are safe. This year when I anchored the International Yoga Day celebrations for Doordarshan, I wore a mask. And I wanted to show you this picture because what a contradiction it was. On one hand, we're saying it's International Yoga Day, yoga for harmony and peace, yoga for wellness. On the other hand, I have to wear a mask during that live program. Just ironical. I didn't enjoy that. I don't enjoy presenting programs with the mask on. Can we go back to a world where we didn't have the mask? With all the education, technology, as human beings, are we really evolving if we can't be in harmony with the nature? So this picture basically says that we have to really change. Somewhere something needs to improve, right? So let's look at the possible potential areas to grow so that all of us can be ourselves, be you. So when we say self, what is it? The combination of 4 things: body, mind, emotions, life energies. Now, we all have some experience of the body, mind, we also feel emotions, so maybe we'll focus a little bit on them. Maybe we don't have too much of focus on life energies so far because it's more experiential. So maybe we are not very competent to talk too much about life energies because we haven't really experienced it ourselves. Look at the Nirvana Shatakam by Adi Shankaracharya. He says, I'm not the mind, not the intellect, not the ego. So I'm not the 5 senses. Neither I am the 5 elements like the earth, fire, wind, water. So that's a little more life energies kind of thing, which we will just put on the back burner right now and try to explore the dimensions of body, mind, and emotions. For us to improve ourselves, it's essential that we pause. When you look at the remote button or any gadget, we all love the play button. We don't really like the pause button. If there is a phone bell ringing or a doorbell ringing and somebody has to walk out watching a cinema or movie, you feel very, very heavy heart, pressing the pause button, even for a minute. But pause is very essential to reflect upon life and to see where is it heading. When you pause, you'll realize that much of our troubles are actually coming from our mind. If you look at this picture, so there's this thorn in the foot. If you've got a thorn in the foot, the first important thing is to take the thorn out. If you do that as the first step, then only you are paving the way for rest of the healing. Similarly, for us to have holistic healing and full self-development, I believe since most of us do become victims of our thoughts, mind therefore should be the top priority for us to address. And it is our experience too. Now, this photograph at the recent press conference by the Portugal superstar Cristiano Ronaldo, I think speaks more than 1,000 words. Our experience of body also tells us what we should eat, what we should not eat. I think we should clearly say no to all of these fizzy drinks. You say no to these fizzy drinks, all of these, cold drinks. Their sales will automatically come down. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo or anyone who's fit ever drinks a cold drink? No. And hats off to Ronaldo that he has the guts. Maybe some of our heroes will never admit to it. This is poison. And therefore, hats off. So when we talk about self-improvement, we can certainly understand our body. Our body tells us, why would you drink a poison, cold drink and all these fizzy drinks? None of the person who's got commitment to become fit will ever take a cold drink. And hats off to Ronaldo. Brilliant. Brilliant. But is anyone listening? Or somebody comes up with an ad and you feel like having a cold drink. Well, if you want to mess up with your body, it's purely your call. Don't want to improve? Don't improve. Tomorrow you will be vulnerable to diseases, don't complain. Right? In a world where people die of poverty, significant number of people live and die of poverty, how could we really spend dollars getting a cold drink and fizzy drinks? One wonders. That has got no value addition whatsoever for your health. So hats off to Cristiano Ronaldo for doing it. But therefore the question is, do we really want to self-improve? Will we say no to things that we should not really be taking for our body and mind? Well, that's why living with courage is so essential. Courage is very, very essential. You want to self-improve? You need to show courage. You want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and probably get handle on your morning schedule? You need courage. You want more time for your family? You need courage. You need to really find out the skill that you're good at? Well, you need to focus upon yourself. If you don't focus on yourself, will you be able to take care of the world? No. That requires courage. And even when you follow somebody who you feel is doing well, you can only follow their footsteps. What if after a while there are no footsteps? See this picture. It is of a runway. You can have the trail of the aeroplane only for a while. After that, the plane takes off. So if you're inspired by a plane, how will you follow once the plane has taken off? Because there'll be no footprints. Yes? The footprints will be available and that will be a function of the mind. The mind can only help you this far, no further. Beyond that, there is no footprint. It's the flight. And that is nothing but experiential. Do you have the courage to self-improve? Will you not try to figure out the entire existence in a manner where you are the best version of yourself? So, if there is a potential to grow, we should really grow to a level we can. And that means a constant evolution and separating myths from facts. This means that you really are in a pleasant state of mind, always curious to know more, asking questions, and believing in the fact that we are constantly evolving. Well, we have constantly evolved. As we evolve constantly, one of the areas that we're still evolving is mind. Because if you look at this picture, initially it was more of an evolution from body perspective. To see how our posture became a little more erect. But over the last 200, 300 years, more or less the shape of the body, both for male and female, is almost similar. It hasn't changed much. So if we say that humans are still evolving, then where is the evolution happening? It's not happening in the body. It's almost the same last 200 years. The evolution is happening in the mind. Yet, closer look at the bestseller, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, will indicate that Robin Sharma, the author, mentions in his book, one of the chapters where he talks about the mind, one of the 7 virtues that Yogi Raman gives the protagonist Julian Mantle. He says even the best conditioned thinkers use just 1% of their mental reserves. Now, this book has been a bestseller internationally. If you've got this acclaimed author saying that even the best conditioned thinkers are using just 1% of their mental reserves, perhaps gives you an idea of the scope of improvement that is possible, just in mind. Just in mind. Similarly, there's huge scope of improving your body. Tokyo Olympics are going to begin come 23rd of July. And look at how the athletes are going to run 100 meters, say, in less than 10 seconds. You and I, if we run, maybe we'll take 20 seconds, 30 seconds. That means that the body is capable of running at that speed, right? Not that we have to compete in Olympics. I'm just telling you that our body, anyone's body, is capable of that kind of improvement and flexibility. Look at the gymnasts, how they will perform. Not that we want to win a medal, but I'm saying everybody has got the capability to maneuver their bodies in that fashion. Similarly, if you're using only 1% of our mind, then we have access to another 99%. Question is, are we willing to improve? So, of course, with the limited time here, if you are very keen on the analysis of the book I just mentioned, we've done the analysis of each chapter of the book in our special series called Amakantak, Shades of Ignorance, where the objective is that when we do read something, or whenever we come in association with any thought or an idea, we perceive it in a certain manner. And sometimes it could also be a herd mentality. In this program, what we're trying to also elicit is the shades of ignorance that a certain book or a thought can bring in addition to knowledge. So sometimes we may have the inability to decipher the ignorance that accompanies knowledge. In Amakantak, which is the source of river Narmada, the whole idea is that we understand the existence a little better. You can watch the series. The whole idea is whether we experience or avoid life. Life is a combination of both compliments and criticism. We all love compliments. We may not necessarily like criticism, but it's like criticism in a constructive manner will help us grow. And growth always happens at the edge of one's ability. So if it's only survival that is your objective, then it's a very limited prism that you're watching. But if you want to grow, then self-improvement becomes the key. And whenever growth will happen, it will certainly have an associated discomfort, because after all, it's a new territory that you're venturing into. You fear something, you will not like to kind of go that way. But then in life, if you want to protect anything, you'll always have a fear, because you don't want to lose anything. You put a question, you will think, oh, what will the other person think of me? Or if I speak something and my viewpoint is not appreciated, how will people react? You feel loss of reputation, there's fear. You have money, you feel you'll lose your money, you have fear. So whenever you feel you can lose something, there'll always be fear. But self-improvement is on the other side of the fear. And therefore, it's important that you enjoy the journey. And as far as life energies and soul is concerned, laughter is the medicine for the soul. So go along this process in a very joyful manner. Not that all the questions will dawn upon you in one day. Not that even if you have a question, all the answers will come to you in one day. Enjoy the journey. Take humor along. And appreciate the progress, as I said. And continue your yearning and search for a higher calling, so that you can continuously improve yourself. I also feel that it's essential that you embrace silence and smile. You speak only if you feel that when you're speaking, it is improving upon your silence. And enjoy silence. It's fine. It's okay. A particular day, if you have the capability of not even speaking one word, that's absolutely fine. I think that's brilliant, in fact. So you need to practice a pause, breathe. Breath is a miracle. And I think as many times as you want, you can reset your zindagi. We always want to become a better version of ourselves. What if I made a mistake yesterday? It'll be a new day tomorrow. I have every right in the world to reset my innings a number of times. Yes. And I also feel that when you want to reset your life, you should also have certain mechanism or tools which can help you. So like I said that, I've been anchoring Yoga Day celebrations. So So it was in 2015 when for the first time the entire world celebrated International Yoga Day on 21st of June. What we've done is that you've got the nodal ministry, Ayush Ministry, Government of India. They've created a 45 minutes protocol. I would encourage everyone, and preferably in the morning, please take out 45 minutes for yourself. 45 minutes every day, not a big thing. You need not really go anywhere. You can just be at home, just take out 45 minutes. You can go to the Doordarshan link, just type in International Yoga Day. You'll get access to the 45 minutes yoga protocol and follow that protocol. Now, this protocol has been made by sages, and so it's very essential. We appreciate that you have to follow this order in this manner itself. So the 8 steps, first is prayer. So you can start with a prayer, whatever you want to pray. You can pray nature, any god of your liking. And once you've done that for a minute or two, the second part is loosening exercise. Whenever you want to do something, it's not you straight away go into the exercise mode heavily. Just do some loosening exercise. So you've got the neck, so you can kind of move around the neck a bit, shoulder, then knees. Right? And the best part of doing yoga vis-a-vis gym is that yoga is very anandmay. Purely your ability, no comparison. It's self-improvement. Gym, I think, it's more comparison and, more pumping of iron. Yoga is more anandmay. The third step is asana. In asana also there's a protocol. You begin with standing asana, then sitting, then prone, then supine. Okay. Prone is on your stomach and supine is on your back. At fourth, you do Kapalbhati, which is in a way a preparation for pranayam. Fifth is where you can practice any of your pranayams. You've got so many pranayams these days. You can do Anulom Vilom, you can do Bhastrika, you can do Brahmari, where you make the sound of the bee. One of the most essential part of the protocol is number 6, Dhyan. A lot of people feel yoga is only asana. No. Dhyan is the most important part. So just sit and try if you can focus and meditate a bit. Nothing like that. It will help you to improve yourself substantially. Number 7 is Sankalp, which means you do a resolve. You can resolve for that particular day, for that month, year, for your life, how you can contribute to yourself and therefore humanity. And finally, you do a Shanti part. So I hope that you have this yoga protocol in mind. And unless you've got something else which you are comfortable with, I would suggest tomorrow morning, just get up, allot yourself a certain time, and 45 minutes, look at that video on Doordarshan. And if you tweet me at am I good, I can also share the entire script. So maybe if you have a group of 4 or 5 people, one of the persons can actually read from the script. This entire 45 minutes exercise. That script tells you, ab saans lijiye, ab mat lijiye, ab aise baith jaiye, right? So that script tells you whether you have to take the breath, exhale, inhale, whatever. So if you tweet me, I will share the script also of the 45 minutes. Have that handy. That is an approved script of the protocol that is shared on every yoga day. And that is what the entire 200 countries now follow, this yoga protocol. So the other thing I want to really emphasize on, if you really want to improve yourself, is that please practice a no. I think sometimes in a culture of just saying yes, and then not delivering, then that raises our anxiety, because in first place, we never wanted to do that work or probably, talk to that person or just take that assignment. So no is not rude. It's actually very polite. It's more respectful than a fake yes. Don't really bother too much about what people will say. Self-care is healthcare. Do not really build a prison for yourself with the opinion of others towards your life. It's your life. You've got 100% responsibility of choosing the way you want to live it. Make sure if it's your choice, then you are also responsible for the consequences. Listen to yourself. You can always borrow on people's idea, but ultimately it's your life. Yes? Basically, the tools for self-improvement, you have to listen to understand, take non-verbal cues, ask deeper questions. Don't try to judge people. You never know whether Shweta is good or Akash is good, because you really don't know their circumstances. You need to train your mind, because mind by its own nature will always wander here and there. It is like that thorn in the foot, and unless the thorn is taken out, which means if any negative thought is coming, it has to be weeded out so that you can only encourage positive, good thoughts. Don't get distracted. Mind is doing its job. You need to do your job. The idea is to slow down, beautiful life, practice silence. And when you do all of that, you will certainly be able to fulfill your responsibilities as a finance professional much better and rededicate yourself to the motto for which our institute stands for, Yaisha Supteshu Jagriti, which means that person who's awake in those that sleep. So if that's the kind of responsibility that society is wanting chartered accountants to play, it is very essential that we are the best version of ourselves, because we have the onerous task and responsibility of ensuring wealth creation so that nobody goes to bed empty stomach. Everybody has got enough on their plate, and only when their food requirements and shelter requirements will be taken care of, so that survival part is taken care of, that everyone will aspire for growth. If the survival part is not taken care of, you will find most of your energies only in that one big question, that from where will I get the next square meal, right? Once that meal is organized, then you will find a higher calling, and then you will have more avenues for self-improvement. Thank you very much. Prabdeep ji. Unmute, please.
My apologies. Thank you so much for your wonderful session, and you have finished it quite quickly. We still have 4 minutes to go, in spite of your session starting today a bit late. We have, Amitji, one question which was when Kabra sir was sharing his thoughts. And though you have covered that indirectly, but I would like you to again add on if there are any things you wish to add. The question is by Krati Jain, and she is asking, she is saying, thank you, sir, for your motivating words. Just wanted to know how we can identify our strengths. How do we know in which area can we excel? As you know, he was talking about, as you are from journalism, and so if you can throw some light on it.
Yeah. Yes. You mentioned Rakhi, right? That's the name, Rakhi?
Krati, Krati.
Okay, Krati. So thank you, Krati, for the question. I totally agree that everyone is conferred one skill that they're really good at. And unfortunately, rather than reflecting, identifying, and nourishing that one skill, many of us are guilty of complaining about the 99 other skills that were never supposed to be meant for us. So, Prati, all you need to do is that whatever you are doing right now, you should do it with 100% involvement. Then you should reflect upon your journey. You will not know your skill just by thinking. You have to do action. When you do a few things, you will realize which act makes you really feel happy. Even if you, hypothetically speaking, were not paid for it, you would have still done it. Not that you should do it for free, but I'm saying that if push comes to shove and you were not paid dollars for it, you would have still done it. You can do it for all 24 hours, 7 days, and really feel very good about it, right? For me, that is media. I love being in front of camera, love reading news, love meeting people, filing stories, right? I can do that hours and hours. It's been 20 years and I've never got bored so far. The day you get bored, you'll walk out gracefully. So that's the whole idea. And so if you have not been able to figure that skill out so far, don't worry about it, right? With time, you will know. So I'm saying that make sure that you will not know it by just sitting in one place and not doing anything. You have to be constantly on the move and do your actions with 100% involvement. One fine day, your heart will beat and your antardhwani will tell you, this is the area where I would like to spend significant part of my life. Unmute, please.
So thank you so much once again for your time today in the 7th batch, and I'm sure audience will be looking back to see you soon again, and that also will be finalizing soon. And thank you from the core of my heart, and encourage all to implement what you have shared today. And the same things what you have shared will get extended by our second speaker, Shri, who also does a lot of similar things as you do. So now allow me to introduce our second speaker from Kuwait, CA Sriram Gopalakrishnan. Sriram is an audit partner and head of IFRS with RSM Kuwait. He is member in audit committee of RSM MENA and West Asia regions. He is serving as vice chairperson of ICAI, our chapter in Kuwait, and he's also part of the editorial team of its newsletter, which is titled as Jagriti the Awakening. He has 26 plus years of global experience across geographies in audit and assurance of multinationals spanning multiple industries. He is active in the academic and exam initiatives of ICAI. He has co-authored a guidance note for our institute. He is a corporate trainer and speaker on audit, finance, and accounting topics in various forums. He is a visiting faculty to a university in India. In his free time, he is an amateur Carnatic vocalist and indulges in composing bhajans. Thank you so much, Sriram, for being here with us today. I would like to tell the audience that you, when serving as a vice chairman of our chapter in Kuwait, you have been making significant difference for our members, and would like to thank you here. This is not the first time you are coming in this series, and first you were a panelist, and today the audience, our young members, will get opportunity to listen to you for 60 minutes. And in spite of being involved in so many volunteering activities and considering the exams being on and you shouldering that responsibility in Kuwait, at this point of time, for you taking out time for this session is something, remarkable. I do not have words to express the thank to you. And with this, I request our participants for giving a big virtual round of applause, and I hand it over to you. Thank you. Thank you, Gopal. Sriram.
Thank you so much, Prabhdeep. It is really wonderful always hearing from you, and I'm really thankful to you for this so wonderful, nice words you have showered on me. So the whole difference is, as I just heard our Amit ji speak,
Yes.
So he said, whatever you do, when you feel happy, then you don't crib about it. How much ever, hurdles or so-called hurdles are placed in front of you, you're
Right.
very happy doing it. And that way, thankful to the institute, thankful to you. And, I would actually mirror all the credit to you for wonderfully handling it for the entire region. And the best part I would really congratulate you for is that you've never had even let us say, a minute of delay in responding. When I send a message in WhatsApp, I do not know, even if it is late nights, but perhaps someday I will learn the secret from you on how to very quickly respond,
Now I sometimes get a question that you seem to be online on WhatsApp for a long time. I got cities and 17 more cities in progress. Leaders, and WhatsApp has become a very common medium of exchanging information.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. With that, I would take your permission to start the session, the second part of today's evening.
Yes.
So my first and foremost thanks to the committee, the CMIB Committee for Members in Industry and Business, for arranging such a wonderful seminar, a 7-day. I look back at the days when I did my CA, where we did not have these kind of privileges and, to hear from so many people about their experiences. And to that extent, I really congratulate the Honorable Chairman of the committee, CA Hasrat Chubji, and the Vice Chairman, CA Durgesh Kabraji. They are really doing a wonderful job in terms of bringing so many people together in terms of sharing, all the ideas, and these are very valuable. And it was really my pleasure to be listening to our brother CA Amit Arora ji. It was really wonderful. He's such a good storyteller, which I can see, and the way that he has told all the important aspects that we need to understand all through stories. That is the best part of what I really liked in what he did. I'll try and do justice as much as possible in the session that is following his. So with you, thanks to everyone, let me go ahead with telling about what basically is all about the interviewing and presentation skills. So my dear friends, first of all, again, before I start, my hearty congratulations to all of you. I'm sure you're all CAs in the last 2-3 years, I would say, or a little over 3 years. And I'm really so happy and already energetic, being in the virtual presence of so much of young and, a lot of energetic chartered accountants within the room. By nature, we are energetic, and I'm sure with Amit Arora ji's presentation, we are much more energized with what he has said and what our CA Durgesh ji also mentioned the 10 points about, how to basically take care of ourselves. Well, what I'm going to give you today is something not very new or something which you would basically, not know earlier. Let me put it in these 3 buckets. These are the budgeted times, how we want to take it through. The first one, I'll talk a little bit about a resume. All right. So as all of us know, an interview just starts already when the CV started to be looked at by the prospective employer. That is where it starts. So what is the very first impression one leaves with the interviewer or the enterprise with which we are interviewing is with the resume, wherein they look at it, and that's where the interview starts already. So we'll need to see what it is all about. Next, I've got 9. Why this 9 number? Don't ask me. I don't want it to sound like too many, so it's not a 2-digit. So I just made it like the Bata number, which is 9. Just above 8, but then below the 2-digit number. All right. So these 9 are common interview questions which I have been asked in my career of about 26 plus years now, and I have also been the let us say culprit in the game where I have posed these questions to interviewees when they come in. So I'll definitely share some of my experiences through these 9 very common questions that we ask around. Third, I just wanted to talk about multimedia presentations. A good brand of multimedia is PowerPoint from Microsoft Office, so that's what most of us use. And we have seen in most cases, PowerPoint presentations are so drab and boring and killing. And sometimes we say, no, it's a killer presentation. It is so fantastic. So whether it is a killer or it is a killing depends upon so many factors. So we'll cover that aspect as well as we go by very quickly. So let me go on with the resume part of it. Now I'm sure all of us would have seen a resume or heard the word curriculum vitae or what we call as a CV. Now, have we gone behind it and seen whether what do they really mean? What is a CV? What is the difference between a resume and a CV, and what is the biodata and all that stuff? Now, very broadly, I've tried to put something on the screen. So a curriculum vitae is basically a very long version, okay, which basically talks about who am I and my entire career. If I want to say I started off from here, then I ended up there, and as of now what I'm doing here and what is studied, and this is my professional degrees, and these are all the awards and honors I got and all that. Generally, it may be just 2 pages, but a CV can also take you all the way to about 10 pages long. All right, so that is a CV. And generally it is it is used for academic jobs, grants and research fellowships and all that. And by the way, just to pause a little here, whatever I'm speaking in terms of an interview or a resume can equally be applied in business and in practice as well whenever you want to deal with a client, whenever you want to talk to, let us say, your prospective customer, right? So it still is worth it. The rules are the same. The underlying rules are the same with only small changes here and there. So please use it very, openly for a business as well, as much as how I'm talking about an individual. So coming to the target, generally, if you're talking about a client or a company where you're applying for a job, let us say it's an academic job or a grant or a research, a CV will actually add a lot of value because they need to know at 10 pages all about yourself. Whereas a resume is a capsule. It's a very small summary. The word actually resume in French means to summarize or to sum up. So it's generally 1 or 2 pages. So what is the difference between CV and resume is that the primary difference. CV, as I said, is completely about a person end to end, whereas a resume is more only about what skills and work experience is related to that job opening. If I'm applying for an accountant job, I will write as an accountant what are my skills, experience, and what I have done, and how do I basically fit the job. Right. So the target where I'm going basically is exactly for the job. So I may have lots of resumes for each type of jobs. I can have an accountant resume. I can have a lecturer resume. I can have a researcher resume. So I can have a resume which is basically multiple, which is for different types of work experience and different job openings. And I can keep, giving it to those places where it fits. So that is basically CV and a resume. All right. Now, then what is biodata? Right, I've heard CV and a resume, but a biodata. Well, biodata is something where it's a largely a South Asian usage, a Southern Asian usage, where we, apart from a resume matter or apart from a CV matter, we also add a little bit of a personal and, a biographical data. A personal data, something similar to a date of birth, a gender and ethnicity, or a marital status, salary. These kind of stuff generally is given on demand or on request only in certain other cases. But if you call it a biodata, we make it very personalized and we possibly include all these aspects as well within it. And therefore, largely this biodata. The term biodata is not used in the US or let us say in the Western parlance. Okay, it's largely in the Asian parlance, specifically a South Asian parlance. Now, having talked about it, a few quick tips about CV or a resume or a biodata, whatever we are doing, is that these are general rules, all right? So we need to be downright factual, right? So we don't put any overdressing or no bragging in a CV, because today's interviewers are quite smart and they can just pick up, if something is really getting bragged or over exaggerated, just by reading through they'll come to know. So it puts the chance of that CV getting selected for an interview at a very lean position. All right. So it's always upright and correct to put the right facts in without any extra masala from our end. Right. Now, we are global, the entire globe is now seamless. It goes from, country to country. So when we are applying in other countries, it's always good to take care of the regional and cultural matters whenever we write certain things in the CV, or whenever we want to put certain kind of anecdotes or anything else you want to put in your CV or a resume. Be very clear, the regional cultural matters are very important and you need to take care of it. Then, for God's sake, let us not copy paste the CV from our friend or anybody. Last week I happened to, there is a very famous joke that goes around that why is CV called a CV is mainly because it is Control C and Control V. All right. So sorry for the poor joke, but that's the joke that goes around, right? So a CV is basically it's very unique for a person. Last week I happened to, interview 2 candidates and I was so surprised, right? From the font settings to the, the color and everything is the same. Just the name of the person, the photo is different. And it is so same to the extent that even when they write about personal traits, something like I am hardworking, I like this, I like that, I can see both of them have the same likings and the same hardworking and all that. So then later on, of course, I found that they are friends from college and they have applied together to our office, and thereby, they did the same CV together with a change in name. So that really did not go down well, obviously. Because people are unique, it's not supposed to be copy pasted. So be very, very, very careful whenever you put your own things. Write a CV for yourself, read it, reread it, give it to some experts, give it to some elders, let them read it, and then tell you this is short. Because this is ultimately what is going to carry you as a first impression in any organization, as I said earlier, right? So you cannot afford to, make small mistakes, big mistakes, whatever. And as we already know, CV and resume, I told you what are the difference, right? So you need to basically strike a balance between making it how long. You want to make it 5-pager, 6-pager, good, do it, but make it very as a balance. Nobody wants to read your biography. I've not told you the next step of what is higher than a CV. It is basically biography. They don't want your autobiography. They want the important matters, which basically is more ideal and relevant for the job for which you're applying. Okay, and ultimately in a CV, please take care of the typos, grammars, and these are very important. Again, as I said, these are called mosquitoes, as I always like saying in all my speeches. Mosquitoes are the small errors that you find, and elephants on the other hand are like big errors, big mistakes which are right there in front of you. They are big, and obviously I need not have to say what gives you more trouble. Are they the mosquitoes which bite you in the night or don't allow you to sleep, or are they the elephants which are going to come around and all? Right? So obviously mosquitoes are very, very, they give you a lot of problems, right? So therefore it is important that you take care of those small mosquitoes in all of your CVs. Talking about business profile, let me give you a quick example on a business profile. Okay, so as a practitioner, I went to my clients, and when I presented, I was, I think, third or fourth in a row after a lot of audit firms have come and presented. Let's say the big fours, non-big fours, whatever, they came and presented. Mine was like fifth. And I was presenting to the board of directors and the audit committee, to basically tell them that I am fit enough to take up the audit of your concern. Now, the people who were receiving my presentation were absolutely tired, going through, tons and tons of pages, tons of materials on the PPTs and, presentations. So when I entered, they simply said, "Boss, we have seen so many, people telling me I'm the best, I have this and I have that. And we are not, currently interested in looking at your presentation at all." Right? Whereas I'd spent nights and days just preparing, looking at slide by slide, taking notes. I need to talk this. Now I got a big surprise entering there. They said, "No, I don't want to just see your presentation. All I want you to tell me in just nutshell is how you're different from others. Right? Why should I give this job to you? What is it that you have something very special in your credential that you're different from others?" If everyone is saying, "I've got an international office," you're also saying, you might also say, I have. They'll say, "I've got so many partners," you also have. "I've got so much of exposure, so many people," you also have. So what is it that differentiates you? Why should I hire you? So therefore, that brought me to a point where I thought about, always when I went for any interview, whether it's a business profile or whether I'm going for my own personal interview, I keep two sets where I prepare very well, even if it in a short while people ask me, "Here is a summary, nutshell that I talk to you, and this is what I am." Okay, if those of us who have attended a lot of seminars on, on communication skills and all that, there is a very famous thing that they talk about, which is an elevator pitch. What is an elevator pitch? Elevator pitch is something where they speak about, imagine you get in touch with the topmost CEO of a company, and you happen to just meet him in an elevator, and you get that privilege of being in his close space for, let us say, 3 minutes or 4 minutes, as much as the elevator takes you. Now within the 3-4 minutes, how do you basically introduce yourself in a way that is very effective and the person remembers you for what you are, right? So this is what people generally call as elevator pitch. Excuse me. So always you have a slight elevator pitch type of a version of your CV whenever you go, so that you can meet these type of surprises. All right. So coming to the business profile, I would say the third point over here, which talks about your key differentiators. You need to have these key differentiators very clearly identified and made into, let us say, one section. So in case if your whole presentation is getting turned down, at least you have some space to present those important differentiators which you need to convey. Now, this is not the same as the executive summary. All right. So let me clarify. An executive summary is a summary of the entire presentation, and executive summary could be a bigger one. Yeah. What I'm talking is something much smaller than an executive summary, where you just call out your differentiators. Yeah, I'm this, I'm that, and that is why I'm fit for your job. Right? So this is something very important. Now, when you talk about a business profile, and equally important also in a CV, you need to talk about the industry knowledge. Now, that goes therefore to say, whenever you go and step into an interview room, you should have spent substantial amount of time in researching about that organization And even if, for example, you know who is going to interview you, right? Good to know about that person before you basically land up into the interview room. This is absolutely important whenever, you have an opportunity to get into an interview. All right. So we have got a lot of, online tools available, like the LinkedIn, for example. You've got, whenever I go for a client interview, when I'm meeting a client for the first time, I make it a point to go to LinkedIn and read about the person and, what are his or her likes, dislikes, and what is the background of that person, all this, and gives you a lot of information about how you can actually approach the person and, talk to the person, and what not to talk to the person. More importantly, all this I get to know when I do it. So therefore, it's very important that you study the industry and study the person very well before you go to a target client or a target company whenever you go and sit for that. So collectively, these are the important things. From a business profile, one additional matter which I want to tell you is that the collective experience of your workforce is very, very important. Apart from your differentiators, you need to mention this is a total experience of what we carry in terms of, relationship when you take it forward to a client. So this is absolutely important. Having said that, we move on to the next section where I'm going to talk about 9 common interview questions. And let me tell you, the interview questions basically come in various sizes and various forms. All right. Now, it doesn't mean these 9 are the only questions, but these 9 are very commonly used questions in the past. Okay. And where I've heard, different answers, and where I have given different answers in various places. So I thought, and I also did a little bit of a research around to see, are everybody talking about these common set of 9-10 questions, and I found, yeah, these are the 9 questions currently there in the market. These 9, if you are very well prepared, okay, in one way or the other, you can actually modify these answers to any type of questions that you get. All right, and these are the ones which basically take you suddenly by surprise. You've done a lot of homework, but oh, this question I did not expect. Now, how do I answer? Now, these are mostly that type of questions, and some of them may look very harmless at the apparent look, but but when you start answering them, that is when you may feel that this is actually not that simple as it looks. It actually is, some of the follow-up questions which come out of it might be fatal, which you might not basically be able to answer. So it's good to get prepared to run through these 9 questions and see how you can prepare yourself for any interview position or at any kind of organization in any country. That is where it will be helpful for you. And I can tell you also, before we start, a large part of this experience came from my own, sitting for a lot of interviews, both as an interviewer and an interviewee. And in the process, I found that an interviewer need not be one interviewer. At times, or at most times, you find that you will be faced with a panel of interviewers. So in which case it is like, one against, let us say 6-7 people. So I've attended interviews where we have a 10 panel interviewer where they try to grill you down for various matters. All right. So you need to be basically calm and, take it like in the earlier session, our Amit ji said, maintain calm, So this calmness is very much important. And this is something like, whenever you have to deal with a situation like this, you might have a lot of these butterflies in your, stomach, as we say. And these butterflies coming in stomach is not a bad sign. It's not a bad omen. It's really good. It's good to have this kind of a slight fear inside, which really will motivate you to, look at what are those answers, and then you will be able to do well. All right. So with that, let me quickly push on to some real general matters on the interview, on any interview, to do or not to do. And then we'll go one by one to each of these questions quickly. I think we have time for all of that. Yeah. Okay, so as I start off, I would tell you the good research on the organization and the interviewer or interviewers. We just covered that matter a little while ago. So that should be the primary. When you get an invitation, it's time you sit down and start jotting down what is this organization, where is the head office, what is their business, who are their competitors, what could be the problems that this particular industry is facing. All right, so is this company, if it is a listed or a public company, you might get a lot of financial data as well, in your public domain, where it will talk a lot of stories, right? You can take all of them together with you. That's number one. Second thing I want to tell you is that, interviews are also evolving, as per the age, as today. Earlier, if you basically looked at it, a typical accountant interview or a CA interview would focus on hardcore, technical. The guy sitting on the other side, the interviewer will bang, 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 ask questions on, tell me what is OCI, tell me derivatives, tell me fair value, tell me investment property, and he'll just watch you, tell your answers. If you're into audit, he might ask you, this control, that control, whatever the guy basically learned over his 20 years of experience, he would like to test it on that candidate right away, some sadistic pleasure, huh? Okay. Now, things are changing, all right? How are they changing? They have now realized that technical, can be got from anywhere. You can just type to Mr. Google and our Google Baba will give you all the answers. Or they can just phone a friend and, get an answer. Or they can just, go out and read a book, e-books or whatever available, and they have the answer. So they don't need people now to memorize and then come and tell them, okay, this is it and that is that. All right. So it's more important that they are now moving towards experience and practically, how this can be done. The technical part of testing a person is slowly wading away. And of course, secondly, as CAs, the institute has sufficiently grilled us and we are all now CAs, right? What more? We are CAs. So therefore, it's given for granted that, technically we are strong. Therefore, now things are taking a shift towards what? Even if it is technical, first of all, they want to know whether you are actually abreast with the latest trends in the industry or not, right? For example, if somebody is going to ask me technically, what is it that you know technically? I would be glad to say I know data analytics. I would like to say that there are robotics. I'll talk about, let us say, the cryptocurrencies. I'll talk about the latest, the corporate frauds which are being spoken about, right? Very recent ones, not the Enron days, the recent ones. So this is how they basically try to look at practical knowledge as compared to technical abilities. That is the big shift. So it's always good for you whenever you go to an organization for an interview, get yourselves about the very latest about that industry in which it is, the latest about your own skills where you want to get yourself abreast, and this is something that you need to be strong. They are not going to ask you about anymore about the Companies Act and the Income Tax Act. Tell me this section, tell me the case law, all that is gone. Now, the new fashion, in addition to what, technologically, people look at is, in addition to technically, what people look at is the social quotient of a person. They want people in their team who are basically team players. They should know how to, deal with people. They need to be smart enough to get some work done in, let us say, the shortest way possible. They don't like people, on the other hand. These are people they like. They don't like people who always keep cribbing or complaining. And, they keep saying, okay, this is not good. He is not good. I'm not able to work. I'm not liking this work. I'm not liking that guy. No. They want people who are more global now. They want to adjust and adapt with the people. Whoever is able to adjust and adapt with people are the ones who are going to win the game, in future. So adaptability is the name of the game. So you need to basically make sure that you're able to exhibit these traits and the talents in you. Then that is what will get tested in all these days that we go by. So when you have an interview, clearly get these matters within the mindset, which basically will help you. Whenever there is a question which is being asked, the expectation is better to say, I do not know, if you don't know the answer for it very clearly, rather than speculating with any sort of random answers and see some of them might click, right? And this basically gives a very negative impact in the interview, especially early on when the interviewer knows, okay, this person is actually trying to speculate. This girl or this boy is trying to tell me some answers just to, try trial and error method. Now that will not work, and the interview would possibly quickly end. In the sense, when an interview is scheduled for, let's say, half an hour ends in 10 minutes, you might know there are only two possibilities. One is that the person has been an extreme superhero, so you don't need the remaining 20. or the other, alternate will be the extreme end on the negative side, which means the guy is really not, up to the mark, and we don't need to waste the next 20 minutes. So that is the kind of outcome. So therefore, that I don't know is something good to use at the right time. Okay, when rather than trying to speculate the answers. And then when any answer is being given, it is always good to keep the answers precise and short. We are not going to talk dialogues after dialogues like in a movie. We just need to keep ourselves to 30 to 45 seconds per answer, and that is the best way to do, unless and otherwise the interviewer himself or herself says, okay, please elaborate. Can you please explain on this what you just said? Can I have a little more understanding on what you said just a while ago? Now, if those are the matters, if that is a question being asked, then with the permission, you can say it's a long story, may I, then you can add on. But otherwise, the general trend is 30 to 45 seconds per answer, dot. That's it. Another thing is, I've seen in the recent trends, people feel putting a question back to the interviewer makes them feel a little smart. Okay, no offense meant, by the way. I don't say that is wrong, but it has to be used very, very cautiously. Unless otherwise this answer what the interviewee has given requires a follow-up question as a natural progression. Only then it is good to put a question back. Otherwise, putting a question back to the interviewer generally is a showstopper there. It doesn't work. So instead of showing you smarter, it might show you as oversmart. What is an oversmart, right? An oversmart is not somebody who is very, very smart. An oversmart is somebody who thinks he's smart, but he's not. So don't make yourself oversmart by indulging in this practice. Having said that, let's quickly move on to the 9 questions that I have in stock for you. The very first question, I'm sure if some of you who have already attended interviews, they start off with, tell me more about yourself. Right? As if they have not read your CV. Okay, they have not spoken to you. They ask you this. Why do they ask you this? This is generally used as an icebreaker. They just want to, start with some topic. When you meet somebody outside and you want to start a topic with them, what do? You just possibly, the safest way to start is the weather, right? I'm sure all of you would have done this also. Oh, it's very hot outside. Oh, it's raining. So that could be a good way to just it's an icebreaker if you want to talk to somebody. So most people generally use this as an icebreaker. But a big caution to all of you, just because they said, tell me more about you, it doesn't mean that you don't assume they have not read your CV and start going, I'm so-and-so, my age is so-and-so, I currently work at so-and-so, this many experience I've got, that much of work knowledge I can do. No. Don't blurt out all those things. It's not to be read out of CV. Keep it very short and precise. But you have to use this opportunity to showcase yourself. Okay, when I say showcase yourself, you basically tell a little story. As I said, the story should not be very big to be a biography. You basically say, I am so-and-so, possibly certain things which you have not written in your CV. I started off my life like this. Over the journey, I learned so much of good things. And this is what I'm expecting or aspiring to become in future. These aspirations are very important here, where you need to underline, and the energy that you bring into this answer will really be the primary point which will carry you through. Okay. Now, when you say tell more about yourself, I would say I'm a chartered accountant now, thanks to God. Now, I started off my journey somewhere, in my high school. My entire interest was towards becoming an auditor. Basically, I saw certain, you may say XYZ events, and that basically gave me the passion, and that's what I am. And I've learned so much of, things 1, 2, 3 here. And I hope that I'll become a very good chartered accountant, or let us say you are actually applying for an accountant. You may say that I hope that I grow up to become the best accountant in the industry. Okay, so I'm just making up, hypothetically I'm speaking so, but you may possibly put the exact words of where you are going to apply, and that basically should be your tell me about yourself, right? And that will summarize what you are. So these are the do's and don'ts when tell me about yourself comes up. Let's go on to the next bit. Okay, by the way, in all these questions, dear friends, see, there is no right or wrong answer. There is nothing that, it's not like a mathematical problem where, there is only 1 or 2 answers. It is not like that. Anything is right. But then the way you present and how you do it, that is very, very important. I really tell them, I'm just pausing it here, and I really tell a lot of my friends and to whom I basically do counseling, I ask them to practice in front of a mirror, just like public speaking that you would have said, so because public speaking is something, it's like a one-time event where you speak to others, whereas this is like you are presenting yourself, right? So you need to be extremely careful, and you need to practice a lot of times in front of a mirror. Nowadays, you got this selfies or the selfie videos. You take a video of yourself, watch it, rewatch it, and see where you are basically fumbling. Yes, I'm going to talk about this technique of blacking out the PPT in the last part of my session on how to do it. Basically, whenever I want people's attention and not to, for people to read the slides, I black it out. That's a good technique that good, presenters follow, where I want my audience to look at me and what I'm talking, and rather than getting carried away with what is on the slide. So thank you for bringing it up. It's not a technical snag. I have purposely blacked out the screen. Okay. So yeah. So as I'm saying, I want people to, give attention to what I'm speaking here rather than what is written there. It is very important that we need to rehearse in front of a camera, or let us say in front of the mirror. Sorry. Can you see it now? Yeah. So there is a toggle button. Plus, I can make it go out and come back. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Right? Okay, no problem. Let's carry on. Are you able to see my screen now? Okay, thank you so much. So then let's go on to the next question. All right, quickly. Why should we hire you? Okay, many times I'm sure you would have heard this question. Why should we hire you? All right. So here, the actual thing they want to find out is not to intimidate you. Okay, so this question sometimes might sound when I heard it for the first time, I felt very intimidated. Well, what's he trying to ask me? Or is she trying to ask me? Right? So here, basically, they want to test whether the candidate is really suitable for the position that they are looking at on various aspects. Culturally, whether the person is able to pick up the work culture, right? So there's a culture within. So whether this person's culture will match with the work culture of the particular organization and all that. So here the catch, or what makes you successful in answering to this question, is to be very, very specific. Okay, when I say specific, you need to go with an example of what happened in the past and how. So you basically have to bring out from your research any issues in their business or industry, and you should be able to possibly tell how successfully you have been able to deal with them. Okay, those issues. As an example, all right. So for example, if I'm going to the telecom company or a cable TV company, I would basically go and tell them, see, your set-top boxes are there, and the set-top boxes inventory and then accounting for impairment or lost set-top boxes is a major issue in the industry. And I have done this in the past, and I'm able to, see that, I dealt with the situation and I had X, Y, Z measures whereby I could finish off this work with more accuracy. So as an example, I'm saying, okay, so it could be any example or any business or industry issue that you would want to take up and explain how you have successfully dealt with it. Or cases where you don't have any such things, you don't have to really talk something where, you have done some very heroically, some big thing, even a small thing where you basically felt this was an issue and you were able to do it. Now, how do you prepare for this? Right? How do you prepare for this is, normally the companies which come out with interviews have a job description for the matter for which they are interviewing. The job description contains a lot of clues within as to what is the job main requirement on this job, what is ailing them. You need to pick up the right points, map it to what skills that you have, and accordingly you will need to then match the plus that you might have in order to serve this job. So let us say your job requirement has A, B, C, D, E requirement, and you have a skill of A, X, Y, Z. Map them and say, okay, now this is the requirement on the job, and this is where I think I fit in, and this is how I have already done it in the past. Maybe let us say with an example or two, and then that ends the matter. Full stop. So you need to be very specific. Now, if you can also add a passion to this, saying that, why should you hire me? Because as I said earlier, in my high school, I saw this happen and I decided then and there that I should be an auditor. This is the passion that I carry and I think this is my career, right? So if you can add a little bit of your passion statement there, and what is your hope with regard to, moving forward, this will give you the best answer for this question. All right. Now, having said that, some wrong answers would be what? You say that I'm the best. Okay, without adding anything, saying, okay, I'm a CA and I'm the best. So I'm the best suited for the job. Might be not a very impressive answer. All right. You can, and again, as an experience, if I say I have now 20 years of experience, I think I'll be the right person to do this job. Might not also go very well. So these are all termed as very vague answers, right? So you need to be very specific with the kind of mapping that I was talking to you about. So friends, please share your questions then and there. At the end of the session, we'll take up these questions, whatever we need to answer. I'll be more than glad to, look at your questions. In case if I'm not able to have an answer right away, I would definitely do my researches and I will get back to you for sure, through the region. Let's go on to the next question. Another common question that you come across. They come out and say, what are your strengths and weaknesses? All right. Now, this is a big trap, my dear friends, I can tell you. So, and the second part of it specifically, a weakness is something where most of us are very uncomfortable talking, right? Somebody asks me, tell me what's your weakness? That is where I feel, am I going to expose myself? What should I say as my weakness and all that? Right. So that is a very tensive kind of a question. But let's come to that. Now let's go to strengths to start with. Okay. Whenever somebody talks to you in saying, what is your strength? We just saw in the earlier session, our CA Amit Arora mentioned that there is something that every person comes with something good, a strength. I cannot say that there is nobody without any single strength at all. Now, we have to identify what is our strength. It could be anything. It could be a time management. It could be a leadership skill, or it could be simply accomplishing a particular job with, complete passion. Now, you need to actually identify, and you'll have to keep it with you, prepare very well, and you need to back it up with certain facts and figures. Like as I told you before, you need to have some real incident as an example behind it. So, the good part of it is you're talking about, what is good in you. So here, my dear friends, just throw away all your modesty out of the window, all right, and really talk very good about you. A lot of us, I'm finding it, I'm in the Middle East for quite a long time now, and I can see people coming from our countries are really brought up in a way we are very humble, that we sometimes even forget to market ourselves in the right manner. Okay, so we keep it very, very, to the extreme of humility that, even the good work we do, we are not able to market ourselves and bring it out. Now, this is an opportunity when you're asked a question, what are your strengths? It's a great opportunity for us to start talking about our strengths. So, do that. One caution I would always give you is that please keep it to not more than 2 or 3. Okay, just because somebody tells, tell me what are you good at, what's your strength? You don't put a barrage of about 10 points, I am good at this, I am good at that, I am good at this, I am good at that. You don't keep a complete list of like 10 items that the interviewer will find out you're trying to make out actually. You cannot have to focus on some 2 or at the most 3 where you think, you're really strong at. Even 1 will do, there's nothing wrong even if you say, I think this is primarily my greatest strength. And try to keep that strength more relevant to the interview job. If for example, you're talking about a job where you need to manage a lot of people, just make sure that you got a strength which is like a team management, a team player, or a team leader, things like that. If you're going to work on a project which is time bound, you say time management could be, my greatest strength. So you will have to find out those strengths in you and then highlight the one which best suits the interview job rather than randomly bringing about any other strength. All right. Let's go to the weakness, the talk about weakness. Now, talking about weakness generally, as I said, it's very uncomfortable. But what I would suggest is be genuine and bring out a weakness which is basically rectifiable. Okay. And something, of course, on the lighter vein, don't talk about, I have a kleptomaniac, I'm just stealing everything wherever I'm going. I mean, these and all doesn't work. Don't ever, mention any of those personal traits where, you might possibly have certain weaknesses, but talk about weaknesses which are more rectifiable. And most importantly, when you talk about a weakness, you have to immediately follow it up with the measures that you have taken to overcome that or a matter of success. All right. So which means that, let me give you an example. I basically can say that, sir, I have sir or madam, I have a weakness that I basically get carried away when people are asking me to do something and I don't say no to them. And because I don't say no, I tend to take up so many things and I'm suffering. I'm not able to deliver in time. Genuine weakness. Now you immediately follow it up with the measures undertaken and then you basically say, yes, over the period, I've heard my boss say this many times, and now slowly and very, very consciously, when somebody gives me work, I look at my schedule, I look at my calendar, I see how much effort is required and all that. And with great difficulty, I go back and explain to them, boss, I cannot take this job because I'm already overloaded, 1, 2, 3. All right. So with that, I'm trying to overcome this, and to some great extent, I've seen success. This could be an example of a weakness that you can basically talk about. So you can, this will be taken very well because this is a weakness which is rectifiable. You're also saying you've taken the measures to do it and you've seen success. So, which is now no more a weakness basically. So this is in a way, a very smart way of saying there is a weakness, but now it is not there. Kind of. So this is 1 or 2 things you have to keep up your sleeves whenever, the interviewers are asking, just throw it. Right. But what caution is that, what is it that you should not say is that, sir or madam, I don't have any weakness. Now that definitely will not be taken very well. You cannot be beyond God, isn't it? So the only person possibly, without any, the only, not possible, only person without weakness is God. So people will immediately start taking offense when you say, no, I don't have any weakness at all. It could mean 2 things. One is that you are not aware of your weaknesses, which is the biggest weakness, or on the other hand, they will say that you're just trying to hide and make up. So one of these 2 will be the outcome. Right. Having said that, we move on quickly to the next one. Again, another common question that people ask is, why do you want to work for us? Right? Why do you want to work for us, or why do you want my clientele? If you're a business, right? Why do you want? Why should I, hire you as my supplier of services? Right? Right. Now here, at this point, a very common answer that I have seen is that the candidate goes into high praise about about my institution, my company. Sir, I've heard that, yours is the best company in this market. You hold a very big, share of the market, and you basically are one among the top, so and so, all that, right? So it goes into a very large appreciation. And I know you can teach very well, and we basically, learn a lot of things here, all those things. Now, my dear friends, there is nothing wrong in saying that. Don't take me wrong. There is nothing wrong in immediately appreciating for the concern to whom you've gone for an interview. But you basically should strike a balance between what you expect from the company that you will get for your growth, plus what you think you can contribute to the company. So when a question comes as why you want to work for the company, you should think of a synergy, and you should be able to marry both your growth as well as your contribution. So your growth basically comes from all the appreciation you gave for the company, that I have a brand in my name, that I can do this. Second is, it is my passion to actually, do this, and I have this trait. Therefore, I can contribute to the organization's development as well. All right. So this is how a good, well-rounded answer will be for this kind of a question. Now, a caution here will be, few things which is not to be told is, why do you want to work for us? Well, I want to work for you because I want to get a lot of experience. All right. So there you are telling the interviewer that currently you don't have sufficient experience and you want to gain everything from that company. All right, where you're only one-sided. Now, it's okay to say this if you are able to join along with another statement saying that currently I have these skills which I think I can give back to the company as my contribution. So you basically talk in two, what is plus and what is minus. Similarly, things that you may not possibly say is, I heard that it is good to be working here, could be very vague. Things that you may avoid is, I want to work here because all my friends are already working here. I want to work here because this is a high pay area. I'll sort of, this is the best paymaster in the market. So these kind of some responses are something which may backfire. Okay, it's not that it is not to be. As I said, there is no single correct answer to it, but these are not the best of the answers that you can give. Okay, so better to avoid those. The best answers are, as I said, talk about two factors and then merge them, which is one is your growth, one is your contribution. Here again, like I said earlier, remember the passion, aspirations, and all of that is very important here. Why do you want to work? You put your passion into it. All right, that's where they understand that you are the best fit for the job, and that's what this question is all about. Another question very commonly people try to find out is, why did you leave your current job? Okay, now here, friends, there is a very large portion I've seen personally that they start bad-mouthing their old company. They say, oh, that company has this boss who's, useless. This company doesn't pay. I worked with them 10 years and they have not promoted me. They have not done this. They have not done that. Okay. So that is, I can tell you in real sense, in practically from my experience, this is the 90% plus kind of a response that I get whenever, I ask this question to an interview candidate. But it leaves a very bad taste that, once the person can talk ill about or badmouth the earlier employer or the earlier boss, he or she can very well do it again in my concern. Okay. It could be one thought that could cross the interviewer's mind, or it could also be that, okay, this guy is giving me a warning, a dhamki de raha hai, as we say, so if you also do something like that other company, I'll leave you and go. In a way, that's what is the message getting passed. You need to be very careful when you deal with this question. Why do you want to leave? And the best way, my dear friends, to deal with this question is to be frank and honest to the core. All right. Like what? You could have three ways of change. One is what? It's your own decision. You want to change because of some XYZ reason. Okay. You have to keep your reasons to less blunt reasons. In the sense, I want to leave because I've decided I want to shift my career from X to Y. I have done so much of work I've learned and I want to put those learnings into practice in another way. These could be some very good harmless answers you could give. On the other hand, if you have been laid off or you have been fired, okay, let's take these to be two different scenarios. If you have been laid off in the earlier company, it is nothing wrong for you to currently bring it out saying circumstantially this has happened. Okay, the COVID reason or whatever reason, the company could not do well and they had to lay off, and I was one of the people who got laid off. Now it could be another way where it could be the third option is what I mean. The third alternative is you could have got fired for any reason, any mistake. And here it is absolutely important to be brutally honest and stand upright and say, yes, there was a mistake which happened. We have taken corrective actions, and what I feel is that although it's a mistake from my end, it could have been dealt with in a different manner. And I look forward. See, always remember, the interview is all about what you are going to contribute to this company in which you are doing the interview now. It is not about trying to get an explanation from you as to what you did in your old company. Remember this, okay? The mindset of the interviewer is always what this guy or what this girl can do for me, rather than why this guy or girl did something wrong in the earlier. So it'll not go against you if you're going to be absolutely truthful, even in case you get fired for any reason in your old company, and please stand by that. This will go way ahead in increasing your respect and pedestal in front of this new company. I can tell you with absolute confidence on this. All right. So this is the important, and of course, your reasons for leaving or whatever you tell in your interview, this is one of the main things which is to be back verified, by going back to your old company, talking to whoever was your bosses to find out, a background verification is always done. So you cannot afford to goof up on this question by telling something totally different. All right, let's go on to the next question. A question which is asked, which is, what is your greatest achievement? All right, many people, they confuse this question with the strength question which we saw a little while back, asking what are your strengths and weaknesses. A strength is something what you possess and what basically, as a trait that you have. That was the old question. But now the greatest achievement is the result. It is not the cause or it is not the trait, but this is the result of your, strengths. So with the help of your strength, what was it that you basically achieved? So that is where you need to do. So here again, my guidelines are, you need to keep this in alignment with your current job requirements. What does it require? So in accordance with that, let me give you, this is my great achievement in the past, what I have done. Right? It could be a contribution to the department in terms of a cost cutting. It could be giving an idea. It could be meeting a very tough deadline. Right? It could be anything. Okay, as I said again earlier, it need not be a superhero stunt. It is not that, I jumped from the building and then saved a life. It need not be that big. It could be a very normal one also, right? So, but that it's a great achievement for you basically. But dear friends, what is most important in this question, underline it, is the why factor of it. Why do you say this is your greatest achievement? Okay, so a greatest achievement would be different for different people, but you need to say why this is, that basically will reflect on all your priorities and values in the life. Pradeep ji, are we going in time? Am I exceeding my time? I think I've got 10 more minutes.
No. Yeah, we have we have 4 more minutes. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll try to wrap up within the time.
Yeah.
So going on to the next question. Name a difficult situation or a person that you have dealt with. Alright. Here again, we have already spoken earlier about bad mouthing. So one caution here is, please don't bad mouth any past company bosses or any colleague for the matter by saying he was a difficult person, she was a difficult person, this is a difficult company. Rather, focus on just 3 things. What are those 3 things? Number 1, focus on a circumstance. What made it difficult? Okay, it's a situation, or even a person could be difficult because of the circumstances. Focus on the circumstance which made it difficult. 2, focus on effective use of the teamwork and any other resource. How did you basically manage it by using all the teamwork and effort that you had, resources that you had. And 3rd, you please have to focus on your other than personal, the 3, go something which is aligned with your job. Anything you want to show as a difficult situation that you came across in your personal life, try it, and only as a last resort. If you don't have any situation or a person or anything to talk, fine, you take up your personal situation. Otherwise, keep it as much as possible non-personal, and that will help you. Last 2 more questions I've got, and I will try and focus on this question, which is the hobbies and your interests. Seemingly it is very, you can say it's a harmless question, So one of my friends, when he was asked this question, he answered to a panel of like 5-6 interviewers. He said, rock climbing is a sport I like a lot, and that is my hobby. Whenever there is a weekend, I go climb rocks. And he thought it's a good job done. He patted himself. He felt happy. He said that. But there was a follow-up question which was a killer. What happened? One of the panel interviewers asked him, so you mean to say that you are a lonely guy? Because, rock climbing is a lonely, ranger. One guy goes. So if I leave you with a team, are you not, sort of a team player there or a team leader? But in this case, it was a killer comeback. My friend did not expect this, but then he came back also. He was very well prepared. He said, as opposed to the myth that rock climbing is a single man sport, it basically is a teamwork. There is a person, standing below who's holding the rope, and if he leaves the rope, I fall down. Similarly, there are my other compatriots who are on the other side of the rock, and we need to have a very clear coordination between those two and the rest of the team. And therefore, it is basically a coordination and a team-oriented job. So he was able to mention this and get away with it. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there is no right single answer for this, but it could be different. Similarly, in another example, somebody said, I like to read history books. So the panel interviewer asked a question back as a follow-up question. So do you mean to say that you live in the past? Okay, and you basically look at only what has happened long time back, and you're not up to date as to what is current. So here also the friend was very, presence of mind was there, and that friend said no, even in cases where there is a history is known, a history repeats itself, and history basically teaches a lot of things which, in the current management is important. So they could basically make it. This is therefore very important. Even when you say your hobbies and interests, please be very careful and be prepared for a follow-up killer question. Finally, the interview generally ends with a question. Now, I am done with my interview. Do you have any questions? All right. Now, this do you have any questions? Please, one caution, don't say that I don't have any questions. It will seem as if you're not interested in the job. If you have to underline your interest in the job, now you need to be going with a list of at least a few questions. Make sure they are not any obvious question. It should not be something you click a button and you can find an answer. Don't ask that obvious question. But find out, prepare yourself with a list of good profound questions that you may want to put and understand at the end, which will show your interest on the job. With that, friends, let's go on quickly to the next section. 2-3 minutes, I'll try and cover this one, a multimedia presentation. I'll just run through the main bullet points, for us to understand. Let's talk about the presentation, then the presenter in the next part. In a presentation, you basically need to make sure that, okay, how is this related to, the interviewing skills is sometimes what happens is when you're doing a client interview or when you're going for a business where you need to, showcase your company, it is always best to go with a multimedia presentation in your hand. Something as an example, PowerPoint. So, normally what I see is that a few common errors, common things we need to avoid. One is that the slides are all cluttered with a lot of information, paragraphs. It runs, as if it is a prose. Now, it is not MS Word. Please remember it is PowerPoint. Okay, keep all your prose to the Word and keep your bullets to the PowerPoint presentation. Secondly, the colorfulness of the presentation, try to make it balanced. Let it not be too colorful, jazzy. At the same time, let it not be bland. Okay, you try and get a mix of both. Third, they say death by animation. What is that? They make a lot of beautiful cartoons like, animations here and there. What it does, why it is not to be done is because it takes away the attention of people to looking at those movements, and the main matter or a message you're trying to convey is lost. People just keep seeing those fancy movements and transitions. They lose the main message. So avoid that. Use of imageries, keep it apt to the message. If you're talking about something, hardworking, put a picture of hardworking. Okay, putting a plant or a tree over there doesn't make any, sense at all. So try to use imageries which are very simple and related to the message that you're giving. And finally, in current days, when you're presenting, make sure that your presentation is not without much of, animations and all this, because it takes up the bandwidth. Now, if I keep my presentation very simple, like, a white background, like what you're seeing now, it gets easily loaded and transitioned into all the participants. Because participants are from various geographies and they are sitting at places where the internet connectivity is very bad. Now, if you put a heavy file, it will not work. It may possibly get stuck. So, it's always good to keep it simple so that the internet bandwidth of many attendees also will be able to withstand this kind of a presentation. Quickly on the presenter front, what I want to tell you is that don't show the back to the audience. There is a many readers basically start looking at the presentation and they present it. They look at the slide. They forget that there are some audience sitting in the back. Okay, it is okay now in the current position or circumstance where we are doing online presentation, so no problem. But if it's going to be a real-time presentation, it's a big issue. Secondly, the one which I was just telling sometime back to our friend on the technical support, there is a button, this dot. If many of you do not know, you can do it. Whenever the PowerPoint presentation is going on, you press a dot, the full stop button, it goes black out like this. And you press it once more, it just comes back. Now this I find is a very, very useful tool to handle, especially when I'm talking and I don't want the readers to read through the slide. But what happens is when I open a slide and I start talking, the very immediate reaction for all the audience is what? They start reading the slide. Whatever you're speaking, they don't listen to it. They don't really concentrate. Now, whereas I don't want that. I want the entire audience to concentrate on what I'm saying. I press the dot. So what happens? The screen goes black and my video is on and people will be able to see, what I'm talking. I press a dot again, and the screen comes back, the presentation is back. So this is an important toggle dot tool that I use in order to keep the PowerPoint presentations more interesting, and where people can see. Finally, reading, as I already said, presentation itself is not a readout material. Don't read out from the slides. The slides are kept only for bullets, and you need to have your own notes in order to speak out. So dear friends, thanks for your patience, and I am sorry I took a little bit more than the time given to me. Thanks for your patience, and thanks to everyone for staying up. Any questions? I'll be glad to take. Over to our Prabdeep ji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sriram, for a wonderful session, and sincere gratitude to you for taking out time so quickly in a very short time. And I'm sure the insights which you have shared today will make a significant difference in the lives of our young members who have watched today or who will be watching it later. So, we will, as you are so supportive in different initiatives, we will be soon taking your support in many other things, and maybe here also in connecting with the members. So I would like to remind our participants that tomorrow, please be back here from 6 to 8 p.m. when we have 2 sessions, starting from Power BI, a technology session, and ending with a soft skill, how to lead and have a growth mindset, will be covered by a speaker from Qatar. So we have 2 speakers, one from Doha and one from Dubai. So that's it. Thank you, Sriram, once again, and stay safe, take care, good night, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.